Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for June 3rd. So, for a little while now, as I've been doing my readings, I've been saying sort of like, well, June looks really pivotal. So if he doesn't leave in June, then he's there till November. June's going to be a tough month for Trump. You know, stuff is going to come out that Trump's not going to like or handle well. Okay, well, so all of that is now playing out before our eyes in real time. Excuse me. Honestly, I think you're all just going to have to get used to listening to my throat cracking until things settle down a little bit. Honestly, as soon as I sit down to do this, it starts. I go through the rest of my day. My voice is fine. Silly people. They actually think they're going to be able to dim my light by making my voice crack. How silly. Silly, silly. So now we understand what's going on in June. So I thought that this would be, I'm going to start with my handy dandy pendulum. And then I have my cards here and we're going to take a look at kind of what we can anticipate. Because this looks like there's going to be a whole heck of a lot going on. So this is interesting. I've been playing with my pendulum just a little bit before I started recording. So the pendulum is ready to go. As you can see from its side-to-side motion, it's ready to talk to us and give us the answers that are most likely, most accurate, given the circumstances at this point in time. So, first question. Are these protests likely to continue for at least another week? Okay, that's a big, strong yes. As you know, or most of you know, my pendulum goes back and forth for yes. Round and round for no, and side to side when it is ready, okay? So, it feels as if the protests are different this time. Are they, in fact, energetically different? Is there a different energy to them this time? Yes, there is. Okay. Is the change going to allow for fundamental changes, real change in the way the sort of policing and the attitudes around ethnic groups, around blacks? Is that going to cause some significant changes going forward in the United States? Okay, so that's good news, right? That's a big, strong yes. When we look back over time and we come back and we're reflecting on June 2020, are we going to view this month as really pivotal to the future, for good or for bad? Is this month like an important marker, if you will? And that is also a really strong yes. Okay. Is the right wing, I heard yesterday or this morning that members of the white supremacist group's right wing are dressing up in Ativa outfits or colors, and they are the ones actually creating and trying to incite a lot of the violence. Is that accurate? Are the right wing behind some of the most violent of the violence? Yeah. Okay. Are the vast majority of people trying to make positive change with peaceful protests? Of course they are. Okay. And just because of that, I'm going to ask that Archangel Michael come down and surround the protesters, keep them safe, keep them in his light, and surrounded by his protection. Has this request been received? Yeah. Okay, so that's good. We're going to send Archangel Michael and his warriors, his truth seekers, his protectors in to surround the peaceful protesters and keep them safe. Is Trump going to actually survive June? Is he going to get through the month of June? Okay, so this is an interesting answer. I don't know if you can actually see clearly what this thing is doing, but it's going back and forth for yes, and then it starts to go round and round for no, and then it goes back and forth and then round and round. So what that's telling me is there's just not a clear answer yet. Okay. Is Trump going to win the election in 2020? Is he going to get a second term as president of the United States? That's a super, super big, strong no. Really strong no. Okay, good, good. Thank you. Thank you for the reassurance. Is Biden currently making enough of a startling contrast to Trump's behavior that that's actually going to end up serving him very well going forward? Yes, indeed it is. Yes, indeed. And is Biden likely to win the election November 2020 in the United States? Is that looking like a win for him? Yeah, it is. Okay. Is Trump likely to leave the White House early should he not win re-election? So the time from November to January, is Trump likely to stay in that White House? That's a yes. Okay. Is Trump going to create a problem in terms of not wanting to leave the White House? Is there going to be some issue about that? Yeah, most likely. Okay, so he's going to be screaming, fake election results, whatever it is. Okay, like is the election going to go ahead on time, on schedule? Yeah, that's something he is not going to be able to affect. Hi, sorry about that. Okay, so Trump is, going to try to kick up a fuss. Are his attempts going to be at all successful? Not in your life. He's going to be a lot of smoke and bluster and tantrum-like behavior, but it doesn't look as if he's actually going to be able to, create any significant problems. Is Trump actually trying to encourage a race war? Is that really what this behavior and this aggressiveness towards protesters is all about? It is. He absolutely is. And is that because he feels like that is what the evangelicals who really strongly support him and the white supremacists who strongly support him, is that because that's what they want? Okay, and is this literally just Trump's selfish attempt to secure his reelection? It is. Okay. All right. So those are my questions. So we're going to set this aside. So that's interesting and helpful. So it still looks like he either may or may not survive the month of June. But I will say energetically that if he remains in office, and I got to say, it feels sort of like he's most likely to, but that doesn't mean he will. Just it feels energetically now. Now, it's really early in June, okay? So heaven only knows what's going to happen over the course of the next, 30 or so days. But it feels like even if he remains in office, the events of this month are going to really, really badly damage him in a way that's probably not recoverable. Speaking of which, two things first before I focus on my cards. One, to all of my new subscribers, thank you so very, very much. Welcome to Soulprint. It's wonderful to have you here. For my established viewers, of course, thank you for your support. Your ongoing generosity and kindness are very much appreciated. Again, lovely, lovely donations coming to me, and I'm very humbled by them. Thank you. And again, if anybody is interested in a private reading, there's information in the box below. Now, second thing, I have just started watching it, but Netflix has released a limited series called Filthy Rich about Jeffrey Epstein. And Trump's connection to him. And the whole child sex scandals. So if you have access to Netflix, if you haven't checked it out, that may be something you want to. I can't speak more to it because I've only just started getting into it. I have to tell you, energetically, like normally those are the kinds of things that I'll just binge watch. Energetically, this is so depraved and dark that I actually can't sit and watch episode after episode. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to get through it. But again, interestingly, right? Netflix has released this thing. There's all kinds of crazy distraction stuff going on. Because of all the crazy, I mean, honestly, my God, Trump standing in front of that church, like with a Bible. I'm surprised. I have to tell you, I'm kind of surprised that the Bible didn't just burst into flames when he was being held by him. As one of the I guess priests of the church or reverends or ministers of the church said, that was actually abuse of the Bible, him having those pictures taken. And he thought that it was making him look strong, right? I mean, he really did. He thought that this was a tough guy picture moment. It just made him look stupid. Okay, the ruling is coming down, what is it, June 12th, about his taxes? Again, so much crazy going on. You know, how much attention is actually going to be paid to that? So right now, all of this distraction stuff, it was a strength card, all of this distraction stuff, frankly, is working to his advantage, right? I mean, this allows him to keep the tension refocused. And I did say he was going to continue to come up with really nutty stuff in an attempt to sort of take back the airwaves and pivot them so that it's all about him again. Okay. So what I want to know is what does June look like for Trump? Let's see if we can drill down and get some real insight or guidance as to what not only Trump is facing in June, but as a result, what the rest of the world probably needs to brace themselves for come the month of June. Here we go. Here we go. Come on down. I have a question. Okay. So, Trump, June 2020, Trump, June 2020, Trump, June 2020. So, we can start with the fact that the government, the White House, the administration, they're going to see some real rapid changes in terms of their ability to sustain any sort of a message. The more unhinged Trump becomes, and he will, the more they are going to really struggle to try to keep him on message, or try to even just get him to settle down and focus. So they're going to have their hands full in June. And of course, we know what happens when Trump doesn't feel he's getting enough adulation and enough attention, right? He starts acting out. Well, I mean, God Almighty, he's already acting out to a degree that nobody can even fathom. And that's going to unfortunately carry on. So these cups, this abundance of cups here, really is indicating an abundance of his emotional behavior and reactions. He's going to be saying stuff and spinning stuff. It's not going to be a good look, okay? It's really not. I know it's so interesting, right? Because I'm looking at these cards, and in any other kind of a private reading, right? These would be really fabulous cards to get. But when you're talking about Trump, he is so unbalanced, he is so unhinged that he is so childish, he is so juvenile. The Page of Wands really does in some way accurately describe his behavior. He's all talk, he's all ideas, he's all communications, but he's a page, he's a child. It's juvenile. It's not well thought out. It's not much of anything. It's just, I want, and somebody should give it to me because I want. So you can anticipate more of that going on. Like just what your country needs, right? Just what the United States needs is the toddler in chief having temper tantrums for the next 30 or so days. He is so scared of secrets coming out, and there's going to be a lot is going to start leaking. And I mean, oh my God, it's been 3.5 years of crazy kind of leaking from the White House. It's going to get really amplified. Part of the reason is that his behavior is becoming and going to continue to be so erratic, so volatile, that very often, members within the White House, within his administration, they go public with stuff for two reasons. One, some of them are going public just because, they can't believe what's going on, and that really is sort of their voice, because they understand that if it comes through the media, Trump is more likely to listen to it, more likely to give it weight. But there's also going to be a lot of leaking because people are really struggling with him behind the scenes. And so they're going to be out there, again, getting information out, getting stuff into the public domain, so that I guess maybe just that there's sort of more of an awareness. And again, he is so concerned about his personal secrets coming out, never mind secrets of the office or of the administration, that he is just going to be, so this is the picture that just flashed into my head. He is going to be like a tornado, So literally a tornado is spinning. It touches down, and then it just destroys everything in its path. And that is going to be his behavior, literally. There's going to be this frantic activity, this frantic emotional behavior, and then he is just going to touch down and kind of, make no sense and just sort of destroy stuff randomly. Is that actually going to work for him? Is that going to get him what he wants? Well, no, because here is his wish card. This is what he wants. He wants the success, the adulation. He wants the re-election. He wants people to think he's amazing. He wants what's going on right now to carry on for a while, because you know what? That is distracting from the numbers from the COVID virus. That is distracting from the fact that he is incompetent. His administration has pretty much shut down anything that they were going to do in terms of the COVID response. He wants it to go away because he didn't do well, and so he just wants it to vanish, because he's totally focused on what he wants and what he needs. Well, guess what? Here comes the Death card to basically say, Your delusions, your ideas, the things that you think are important, that's not so. That's not going to work. The energy of change is upon us. Whether that change is political, civic, or indeed energetic, whether you're talking about the vibrational shifts that are going on the planet. So were kind of the events that are going on in the United States, were they sort of destined? And in some ways, yeah. Now, the problem is that because they were, let's face it, they were destined in all other countries of the world in terms of the pandemic, right? The difference is that there was no ability to handle it. And so it is the ineptitude that has brought on almost like this incredible crisis-like energy and environment within the country, because he's no longer on the planet. He's not, okay? He is just in this fantasy world where he is amazing. He's going to be tough. He's going to send the military in. He's going to just do stuff that is unbelievable and insane. And the problem is, given the past history, this is the thing, right? He gets away with stuff that nobody else would even think he should get away with, even be able to fathom that he could get away with. But so what happens is he does this, and then somebody sues him, and the government, and somebody sues the government, and it has to work its way through the courts. And meanwhile, he allows this sort of crazy to continue. And in this case, it feels very much like that sort of military push until it can get, dragged back and brought under actual legal control. So June definitely looks like it's really, really going to be a very difficult month. I wish there was a way for me to soften this blow, but you know me, I shoot from the hip, don't sugarcoat much. So June looks like it's going to be a really tough month. I mean, not only are the numbers for the COVID thing going to continue to escalate, the response to the COVID thing has been completely and woefully inadequate. You now have all these protests going on, and to what degree that is going to create literally medical disasters in 2 or 3 weeks from now remains to be seen. You have the protests going on, and more the right-wing activities behind the violence are being reported out. You have his own people in the administration leaking because his behavior is so over the top, they can't control it. So it looks like it's really going to be a very, very difficult month, which I guess is why, the pendulum said June is pivotal, right? When we look back, June is going to be a really pivotal month in terms of breaking. And again, understand what's going on is all about breaking up the foundations of that which didn't work and bringing it to an end so that new beginnings can happen. And that's not quite going to be what Trump would like to happen. Of course, as you know, this is my Trump card. He's not going to like what's going on around him, and so he's going to lash out and retaliate. But you know what? What is going on now is instrumental in creating an environment where significant, real, and lasting change can start to happen. And honestly, the more Joe Biden kind of is out there, acting so calm and so presidential. Again, like him or hate him, he is going to be the Democratic nominee. But at least he seems to have the decorum and the empathy and the kindness to be able to reach out to people at this time and try to calm things down, as opposed to Trump, who really, really is walking around with a can of gasoline in one hand and a lighter in the other. That's his MO. That's what he's doing. Aw, aw. The poor guy, he's not going to have a good time. Okay. He's under attack. He's defensive. He's going to come to a place in June where he honestly doesn't actually know if he can hang in there until November. Things are going to get so rocky for him this month that he's actually going to start to question whether he can actually make it through November. Now, just because he's questioning it, it doesn't mean he's actually going to do anything about it, because he's going to count and depend on what is already in place. So he's going to count and depend on the RNC. He's going to depend on his base. He's going to depend on big Republican donors. Because he thinks that that's going to give him enough to get over the finish line, and it's not going to, but that's where his focus is going to be, right? The more embattled he feels, the more he's going to be turning to that which he believes is his foundation, and of course, ignoring absolutely everything else. And there comes a point where that just isn't gonna work. It's just not going to work for him. Yeah. Don't be surprised if there's news coming out about his finances, about money, about legal issues. More stuff about legal. So I don't know. Is there going to be some information released? Or is he, about new legal matters? Is he going to get bad news from a legal perspective? Probably both. Probably both. So this is a month, it really feels energetically, where it's sort of like his back is against the wall and he's just lashing out, like just literally lashing out, because he doesn't really have the ability, frankly, to do anything else, right? He yells at people because he's getting bad press. He doesn't understand that he's the one creating the bad press, right? And he keeps turning to those across the water, right? He's in partnership with those across the water. They are doing what they can to keep him in place. So June is also going to be a month where you're really going to see sort of Putin's influence, and others. There's also China. There are other countries that frankly benefit if he stays in place. So you got that going on. There's going to be, just generally speaking, June feels like really unstable. And it feels like there's going to be so much information coming out through social media, through, the news, Facebook, I don't know, wherever, that people are going to end up being really, really confused, because trust me, all of the volatility going on in the United States right now is perfect. It is absolutely perfect for the kind of environment that Putin wants Trump to create, because think how brilliant it would be if everything that's going on right now just completely brought the United States to its knees. Then Putin could stand around saying, you see, democracy is bad. It's bad. And if the greatest country on earth could fall, anybody could fall. So this plays right into bad actors' handbooks. And he is such a puppet, right? He just, as long as you tell him he's going to get what he wants, nothing else matters to him. It just doesn't. Now, let's find out what this Four of Swords means. Yeah. So because information is going to be coming out so fast and furious, a lot of it he doesn't want to come out. It's like it's secrets, right? Everything that he holds behind a wall is he's going to start feeling like everything is going to come out, and it doesn't make him look good. It doesn't let him look strong. It just makes him look foolish and impulsive, and you know, like he just doesn't think about consequences at all, which of course we all know he doesn't. So I don't see this necessarily as retreat, but I do see it almost as if everything he tries backfires. Everything he's going to try to do to maintain this illusion of strength, to maintain this illusion of I'm the government and what I say goes, is going to backfire on him. It's not going to be well received. It's not going to be well received at all. And what that's going to do is it's going to really, really ramp up emotions. And the emotions literally translate to whatever it takes, however it takes, we're going to vote this guy out. This is, again, a pivotal month where even people who have maybe been sitting on the fence are really, really going to start surging into a common sense of it is literally time to change the direction of the United States. It is going down a road that we don't want, and we're going to do what it takes to get him gone. And that's going to lead, you know, to sadness and disappointment for the guy, because, you know, and there we have him trying to row himself back into calmer waters, and that's not going to be possible for him. So, June, I guess we're talking about volatility. We're talking about information coming out that has been hidden. We're talking about his behavior becoming more erratic, which frankly I know seems almost impossible, although the last 3.5 years have taught us that there is no bottom with this guy. So that's what June looks like. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So keep yourselves sane, stay safe, stay protected, and be very, very careful again about the information you're getting and you're receiving. Don't just assume that it is accurate. Check its sources, okay? Because remember, there's 2 ways that they do this. One is to appear to be with you and then very, very slowly start changing the story or the perspective, right? So you're going to be attracted to what they're saying initially because it agrees with you. Or it is so outrageous that it just infuriates you, that it's so outrageous and so wrong and so inaccurate. But either way, what they're doing is they're getting your attention. So don't give your attention to places that don't deserve it, frankly. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye-bye.